Hello, once again, this is Antonio, and I'm coming at you with another exciting video. Now, there are, and I repeat, there are some evil people in this world. That's right. And some of them are your family and friends. A lot of times when you begot evil, a lot of times it's the people that's closest to you that do the most heinous crimes. It's not the boogeyman from down the street, even though they can be horrible too, right? But a lot of times it's people in your circle. And what do you might be like, I tune in this, what are you rambling about? Now, this is an older case, but a pregnant woman just had a baby shower 2 days prior. And what happens to her? Her own brother kills her and her baby and sets her on fire and places her in an alley. That gotta be one of the most heinous crimes that you can do to a person, whether it's your sister or not. What were you thinking about, Jack? What were you thinking about? All right. So let's go ahead and hide this. Talk about the sponsor Surfshock. You've seen the link I placed there already. A comprehensive review of the VPN service. In today's digital age, privacy and security are of utmost importance. With cyber criminals becoming more sophisticated and governments monitor online activity, it's essential to take measures to protect your online identity. One way to do so is by using a virtual private network or a VPN service. Among the many VPNs available in the market, Surfshock is one that has been gaining popularity. And you click that link on that website, you get 82% off or up to 4 months free. And it comes with a 30-day guarantee. So let's go and play the video first so you can see this. I'm going to call him the B word. Bastard. Yeah, I said it. I said it. I said it. But let's play the clip.
Developing now, authorities have made an arrest in the death of a pregnant woman who was murdered and set on fire in Northwest Fresno. Her own brother now in custody, accused in the crime. Thanks for joining us for Action News Live at 5. I'm Vanessa Vasconcelos.
And I'm Warren Armstrong. Action News reporter Brittany Jacob is live downtown at the Fresno County Jail tonight with the new and disturbing information on this investigation. Brittany?
Well, good evening, guys. The family members have just confirmed that N-Kya was 8 months pregnant with baby Noah. And now comes right after the family just threw her a baby shower over the weekend. Now, 2 lives have been cut short. And we want to warn you that the details in this investigation can be very disturbing.
That possible 1144 in a field. They at Cornelia, 4488 North Cornelia. They have the victim apparently set on fire at this time.
Around 12:30 on Tuesday afternoon, Fresno Police and fire responded to this dirt access road for a report of a dead woman set on fire. Authorities have now confirmed the victim is 26-year-old N-Kya Logan, who was pregnant at the time of her murder. The suspect, her own brother, 41-year-old Aaron Dudley. Police Chief Paco Balderama says it's part of an unsettling trend.
As a police chief, I find this horrific. And the fact that we've had, 5 babies murdered in this fashion the last year is something that keeps me up at night.
Detectives believe Logan and her unborn child, baby Noah, had been stabbed numerous times. They say that stabbing happened just a few blocks away from the home Logan shared with her mother and brother. This is not the first time authorities were at that home. About a year and a half ago, they took Dudley on a 72-hour hold after being deemed a threat to himself and others. Police say this time when they arrived, Dudley was trying to cover up the murder.
But this is a person who had the wherewithal to try to clean up the evidence, try to dispose of the body, ran when the police came to knock on the door to see what was going on. So this is not somebody who does not know what he's doing.
District Attorney Lisa Smitkamp says she anticipates her office to file 2 counts of murder because of how far along Logan's pregnancy was. That would make Dudley eligible for the death penalty.
Now, the family today, they told me they are completely grief-stricken. And while they did not want to go on camera, they told me that N-Kya was a beautiful spirit. She was loving, very family-oriented, and trusting. And again, the motive of this case has not yet been determined, and this investigation is still ongoing. Live in downtown Fresno, Brittany.
Okay, so as you can see, what probably happened is the younger sister was probably doing better than the older brother, and she probably dogged him, or he just a bum bastard altogether. And I know sometimes my mother say you shouldn't call people a bastard. Well, I feel like calling him a bastard today. Sorry, mama, if you hear this, this is a bastard. You took two people from this earth because and people always say, oh yeah, people are a danger to themselves. Most people, as I see, yeah, the S word, the rate is up. But a lot of people don't hurt themselves. They take their anger out on other people. I don't care how idle, I'm gonna try to use a different word, you are, you don't hurt yourself, you hurt other people. All right. N-Kya Rebecca Logan had just celebrated her baby shower 2 days before her brother allegedly stabbed her and her unborn child to death before setting her on fire and dumping her in an alley. This was a bastard. A Fresno, California woman who was 36 weeks pregnant is dead after she was fatally stabbed and set on fire in the alley. Her brother is now in custody. The Fresno Police Department Chief of Police, Paco Balderama, identified the woman as N-Kya Rebecca Logan, 26, revealing that she had been, we don't have to keep saying that. Logan was 36 weeks pregnant and celebrated her baby shower this past Sunday, December 11th. She planned to name her baby son Noah. Balderama shared. Balderama said the deaths, Logan and her unborn child, marked the 57 and 58 murders in the city. Balderama said around 12:30 p.m. local on Tuesday, Fresno Police Department and FPD were alerted to a fire on an unpaved alley on the 4400 block of North Cornelia Street. When they arrived, they saw a victim who had been set on fire, completely engulfed in fire, said on the police. That was a beautiful, beautiful woman. I don't care what nobody tell me. Beautiful woman. She's probably pregnant with her first child. The whole family is head over heel. And I hate to say it, they probably didn't feel the same about the brother. Men, we don't get the same love and admiration that women get. We just don't. So guess what? You can't get jealous of your loved ones because they're getting love. After authorities managed to gather several pieces of evidence, they arrested the brother, Aaron Jamal Dudley, 41. He and Logan lived in the same home, said Balderama. So what it seems like to me, 41, she was 26. So they probably shared the same mother and different daddies. That's what it seemed like to me. He and Logan live in the same home, said Balderama, adding that the alleged suspect is connected to physical evidence found at the crime scene. Where we have several witnesses who saw the fire, but one witness who actually took a picture of a person who we believe is a suspect standing over the body. Several surveillance videos which showed the suspect pushing a trash bin. We believe the victim was inside the trash bin. She was taken to the alley before she was set on fire. Fresno County's District Attorney Lisa Ace Smithcant took the podium and sent condolences to Logan's family. She said her office has not officially been given the case. However, it plans to charge the suspect with 2 counts of murder, as the killing of a fetus is murder. when it's past the stage of an embryo. The DA's office also plans to push for the death penalty. Balderama returned and took questions from reporters stating that Dudley was arrested as he tried to run away from the home. Officers were executing a search warrant from having suspicions that the brother may be involved. Once inside the house, authorities find evidence at Link Dudley. So let's play this a little bit. Let's see if we can play a little bit of this. Let's speed it up a little bit.
Led us to the arrest of her own brother, 41-year-old Aaron Dudley, who also lives in the same home as N-Kya and their mother. There's a lot of information. We did bring him down here, as we typically do, to interview him. And although he did not provide a whole lot of information, we have a lot of physical evidence, including a crime scene, which connects him to this murder at the home. We have several witnesses who not only saw the fire, but one witness who actually took a picture of a person who we believe is a suspect standing over the body, and several surveillance videos which show the suspect pushing a trash bin. We believe that the victim in this case was inside the trash bin as she was taken to the alley before she was set on fire. He has now been placed under arrest, and we fully intend to charge him with 2 counts of murder. And I'll let our district attorney, Lisa Smith-Camp, who's here behind me, to address that further. But before we go there, I do want to talk about several incidents that we've had this year, which have been not only heart-wrenching, but also have involved children. And if you guys will remember back on May the 3rd, we worked a case at the 3600 block of West Robinson where 2 children under the age of 2 were killed in an arson fire intentionally by a family member. I believe this was the uncle. And their mother was almost succumbed to her injuries after also being burned. That case is solved. Later on July the 6th, we worked a case at 243 North College, also involving an arson. In this particular incident, a house was set on fire with a family in it. A 14-year-old kid was brave enough to jump from the second-story window and save his own life, but his little brother, 7-year-old Isaac Vallejo, was not and died in that fire. That case remains unsolved. And then lastly, a case that the media is very familiar with, which occurred later on September the 24th, and that's the case of Yaneli Solorio Rivera and her little daughter, who was only 3 weeks old at the time, were both shot to death in their bedroom. Her name was Celine. And the reason I highlight these is that 4 very heinous incidents, horrendous, 4 of the most horrible murders I've ever heard of in my 25 years in law enforcement. 3 of these involving arson. In this particular case, we received a lot of tips. You can see the Crime Stoppers number behind me. A lot of people in the community called us. We got information, we got video, we got possible eyewitnesses, and it's a very solid case, although we're still completing the investigation reports to submit to the district attorney's office. But people got involved. In the case involving the 7-year-old, that is still unsolved. And we've gotten very little information, despite the fact that we've been able to raise the reward money in that particular case twice, in the hopes that somebody will come forward so we can bring this case to the close and bring some much-needed justice to Isaac Vallejo in this case. So without further ado, I will let our district attorney speak, but also here with me I have Lieutenant Paul Cervantes. If there's any clarification on the case, he's our commander over the homicide unit. He can give those details. But also Deputy Chief from the Fire Department, Ted Simoneas, who, I have him here because 3 of these cases we have worked conjointly with the Fire Department, with the Fire Marshal's office. And obviously anytime that there's accelerants, fire, this is in their area of expertise, and it helps us tremendously to work this case together with them. So I'll let our district attorney talk, say a few words.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everyone. I would just like to first offer my condolences to the family of Miss Logan. This is such a sad day for everybody in Fresno. And also, I would like to compliment the Fresno Fire Department and the Fresno Police Department for their expeditious professionalism in solving this case and bringing this case to an arrest so quickly. We don't have the reports yet. We have not been officially given the case yet, so I have a very short statement. I just want to clarify for the media that the definition of murder is the unlawful killing of a human being or a fetus with malice aforethought. And I'm sure that the question is going to come up, so we'll go ahead and just provide that information. A third-party killing of a fetus with malice aforethought is murder, as long as it can be shown that the fetus had progressed beyond the embryonic stage, which in the medical field is defined, and in the law is defined as 7 to 8 weeks. So viability of the fetus outside the womb, and in other words, the ability of that fetus to live outside the womb, is not an element of the crime in order to prove a fetal murder. So the murder of a fetus. So it is my anticipation, and I will say that word emphatically, it is my anticipation that the people will be filing 2 counts of first-degree murder in this case with special circumstances that will make this defendant eligible for the death penalty. When we file special circumstances murders, as many of you know, the penalty is either death or life without the possibility of parole. And again, those are pure speculations at this point. We are anticipating that those will be the charges. The issue of death is never decided at the filing stage. When we have a special circumstances murder, we always give the suspect, which becomes the defendant, his counsel an opportunity to speak with us, and we usually make those determinations after the preliminary hearing as to what direction we will go on the penalty phase of those cases. But at this time, I would like to once again just congratulate and thank the Fresno Police Department and the Fresno Fire Department for bringing this case to a close so expeditiously.
Thank you, DA Spitkamp. Now I'd like to open up for any questions that the media might have for anybody up here.
Where exactly was he arrested?
He was arrested actually running from the home. Our detectives went back to the house to try to process the scene. We obtained a search warrant. We had suspicions that it could be the brother may have been involved. And, he ran for police, which is something very typical of a guilty person. When you come to investigate, tried to run from the home, and that's when he was detained. We obtained all the proper and appropriate search warrants to process the house. And once inside the house, we did find, I don't want to get into details, but I can tell you that there was evidence found at the house which connected him to this murder.
Is there a mental health factor included in this? Is he having problems?
So we have been over to the house before. The Fresno Police Department received a call on July the 28th of 2021, so about a year and a half ago, where the suspect in this case was deemed to be a threat to either himself or someone else, and was placed on I believe it was a 72-hour hold. But I want to be very clear on something. There's a big difference between having mental health issues, which a lot of us do in today's day and age, and having the competence to stand trial. This is an individual, I'm not a psychologist, but this is a person who had the wherewithal to try to clean up the evidence, try to dispose of the body, ran when the police came to knock on the door to see what was going on. So this is not somebody who does not know what he's doing. Any other questions?
How is their relationship? Do we have any information about that?
At this point, very vague. The victim did, fear for her safety on that call on July 28th. So if I were to define it, I would say not great. But at this point, without getting any further disclosures from the family or from the victim, the victim's family or the suspect, I can tell you for certain what the relationship is like.
Can you say anything yet about possible motive?
Yeah, again, I don't know what the motive was. At this point, it's pretty irrelevant in my opinion. I mean, it takes an awful lot of evil, hate, planning to stab your own sister multiple times. She died of stab wounds, we believe, but that's also the case for the baby. Keep in mind, this is a baby at 36 weeks. This is not an embryo. This is not a fetus. This is a baby who could survive outside the stomach. She intended to have baby Noah, and now obviously all that is done. They're both dead. The baby was also stabbed multiple times.
You had mentioned there being a scene at the house and the shopping cart or the cart taken to where the burn fire was. Is it confirmed that maybe she was dead prior to I guess being burned?
That's highly probable that she was deceased prior to her being set on fire. That's the high probability of that. That's what we believe at this point. We also believe that she was murdered inside the home, and then her body transported to the alley where her own brother tried to set her on fire.
Was the murder weapon a knife?
You know, we haven't disclosed the information. I can tell you it's an edged weapon, such as a knife, but I can't tell you, as far as the status on that.
This was definitely a premeditated murder, then? This was planned out?
I can't say for how long, but obviously there was when you've seen an attempt to clean up the scene and to dispose of the body, then there is a significant amount of planning there. How long this had been planned, we have no idea. Again, keep in mind, this is just days after a baby shower for her own baby with family. So very, very troubling situation. And again, as a police chief, I find this horrific. And the fact that we've had, 5 babies murdered in this fashion the last year is something that keeps me up at night. It's something that I think about all the time. Since I was informed about this incident yesterday, I haven't stopped thinking about it. And because of the manner in which the murder occurred and involved 2 different victims, we felt it necessary to do a follow-up press conference to inform the public. Anyone else?
A complete separate issue, but just making sure they're not tied together. There was a stabbing about a few weeks ago on Cornelia and Parkway at the apartments.
Those don't appear to be connected at this point, but that other homicide is.
You got to have a lot of hate on your heart to hurt your own sister, whether you share the same mother or same father, and that child. That's a lot of harboring hate. And at 41, you should have been on your own. You shouldn't even been there. Not at all. Let's carry on.
Is unsolved. So we continue, will this incident create some leads for us? I don't know. It's too early to tell. Anyone else?
So they lived in the general vicinity of this alleyway then?
Yeah, it's not very far.
4 blocks away.
About 4 blocks away, which says some commitment to put a body in a trash bin and haul it 4 blocks.
Chief, you have fire personnel here. There's been you mentioned a number of arson-related homicides. Do you see any rhyme or reason behind that? Is it unusual?
It is pretty unusual. We do have arsons. A lot of times they involve homeless people in alleyways. Sometimes it's just trying to keep them, each trying to stay warm or in a vacant house. These are all very different. Keep in mind, in the first one that we had back in May, that was an uncle deliberately setting a house on fire with a family in it. And then you have the case on College Street. We haven't solved that one yet, but again, there was a family inside the home. That home was set ablaze from the front entrance to the back entrance, meaning that they didn't want them to come out alive, and a 7-year-old died in that case. And then we have the case that we had, yesterday. So no, there's no trend. There's no, arson series in our community. These are all very, very separate incidents, but they do involve fire, and we're fortunate that we have a great working relationship with our fire department. Our investigators work very well together, and a smooth transition on this case. Once we find out that it's not just an arson, it involves a homicide. Well, then the fire marshal's office has to transition to our homicide detectives and make sure that it's done smoothly and that there's no evidence or information lost. And that's been successful 3 times this year. I wish it was none, but we've done it 3 times.
Chief, we're seeing these domestic violence cases, and you think domestic violence, a lot of people think just between a wife and husband, but what would you guys say to domestic violence survivors for people to be careful?
Yeah, in the majority of the cases, it's typically boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. The vast majority of domestic violence cases, and two of the most recent ones have been two sisters and a brother sister in this case. So these are very frustrating for police because when there's gang violence or a gang feud, we can do something about that. We have our magic teams, we have our street violence units that can go out there and just be proactive. And when we do one of these gang sweep operations, it sends a message, and you see the number of shootings, the number of homicides take a nosedive during that time. We can't do that with domestic violence. We can't put a police officer or a counselor in every home. So it is very frustrating when you see something like this happen, and you think to yourself, what could we have done to prevent this? And in most cases, it's nothing. There's nothing other than continue to educate people, and it just seems to me like people will solve their conflicts with violence, and for whatever reason, we're more prone to do that now than we have in the past. And it's sad, unfortunate, and it's something that needs to change. Anyone? Any other questions?
Can you say what the accelerant might have been? I don't know, because that was just in this case.
Don't know.
Okay. It's still under investigation. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Okay, yeah.
All right, stick around.
I did. And I assumed.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and end the video there. As you can see, all of the circumstances that took place in this case, it's terribly sad that this guy will harm his sister in any capacity, but it happened. So this is Antonio with Team Tiggio. Please like, comment, subscribe, as we'll be coming to you with another video very, very soon. And once again, we'll see you in the next video.